Coming up on This Week in the NBA, the Bulls and Knicks in one final slam dance for the right to move on. At halftime of that game, Lotto Mania swept over the NBA. Who will pick number one in the upcoming draft? Plus a message for the young pups from Denver. Not this time. We'll have the forearm and after story of Game 7 between the Rockets and Suns. And Charles, you're not really done, are you?
I don't know if I'm going to play again.
Oh, Sleeping Beauty, wake up, the show's starting. Hi again, everybody, and welcome to This Week in the NBA, the show where you go for the blow-by-blow of all the NBA playoff action. Mike Glenn here as always. Mike, good to see you still have some fresh legs after some grueling 7-game series.
Certainly was grilling and physical, but the officials did a good job of keeping the game under control.
Well, the most physical series of all, perhaps the Knicks and Bulls series, which ended today with New York recording the knockout of the 3-time NBA champion. And here's how it happened in Madison Square Garden. This one was close throughout. Patrick Ewing, the game face. Look at him. Just don't get near him. The Bulls came out attacking the basket, though. Scottie Pippen to Pete Myers for the slam. Chicago up early. Patrick had to go to the bench. 2 quick fouls. Charles Smith, though, picked up some slack. The big throwdown. Knicks by 3 after 1. You want some defense? They got it. Look at B.J. Armstrong. Baseline. Charles Smith gets it out. Phil Jackson's team down by 1 at the break. In the third, John Starks gets on track. For the 3, the Knicks suddenly lead it by 2, but Chicago would battle back. Scottie Pippen, here he goes, through the paint for the big 2, and the Bulls up by 4 in the third. But New York would go on a little 8-0 burst to end the third. Greg Anthony for the 3. Oh, excuse me, Phil. Get out of my way. Knicks by 4 after the third. It gets better. They up the lead to double. Stinger, was that Patrick Ewing from 3? It was. And the Knicks are pulling away. Just a matter of time now. Charles Oakley with the big slam as time ticks away for New York and Chicago's season. The Bulls are done 87-77. New York ending a streak of futility against Chicago in the playoffs. It's the first time they've eliminated the Bulls ever in the postseason. And give Patrick credit for getting it together in the second half. 0 points in the first half, 18 in the second half. He also had 17 rebounds. As we saw in the highlights, both teams were very hungry, but New York took the bigger bite.
That's when we're at our best, when we play aggressive and up in your face and constant intensity. And every time we slack off, a team takes advantage of that, especially a 3-time repeating champions. So we knew that we had to come back, get up in their face, make it hard for them to see the basket, not give them good looks. And it worked, and it worked for us. And that's what we're going to try to do going into the Pacers series.
Well, they had to come back. You'll remember that some Knicks didn't show up in Game 6, but Charles Oakley sure made his presence known today, didn't he?
You're right, Bob. They thought they had to get more scoring from the small forward position. They were looking for Mason and Smith to step up, but Oakley did it again. He played a huge game, had 17 points and 20 rebounds. Take a look at him here with a little give-and-go action. Gets a return pass from Patrick Ewing and dunks it home. He took over again in the Jersey series earlier in this season when Patrick Ewing was not a big contributor in that game as well.
Well, we say goodbye to the Bulls and we look ahead to the Eastern Conference Final. The Pacers and Knicks, they really don't have a lot of love for each other, do they?
No, they don't. It starts with their backcourt. The little guys like to get it on. And Reggie Miller, who says, I want the Knicks. He'll get them. There he was with John Starks with a little headbutt action. And look at the guards. This is Greg Anthony and Haywood Worthman getting to know each other. So the hostilities start with the little guys, then they go inside.
I'm not buying it. I think they really love each other. You can tell by the video. Right. A lot of acting with Reggie Miller throwing his head back. Let's talk about the low post game. Patrick Ewing is going to have his hands full with Rick Smits and vice versa.
Yeah, Smits really playing well now. Larry Brown has given him a challenge. He says, you got to come out and get it done, big guy. And he's been real aggressive, dunking the basketball, just took it right at the Atlanta Hawks. He played good last season in the playoffs against the Knicks, but he'll have his hands full also. Patrick Ewing having a phenomenal season this year as usual.
Now, does Indiana have any sort of edge? They've had a little time off. The Knicks just got off a grueling 7-game series.
They do. I think the rest really is a big factor for Indiana. They're on a roll. They're full of confidence, and they've got some physical players also, so there's no intimidation factor from Oakley, Mason, and the big bad Knicks as far as the Pacers are concerned.
Well, that all gets underway Tuesday night at Madison Square Garden. That game can be seen on TNT, Indiana, New York. And I can only speak for myself, but when it came to today's NBA draft lottery at halftime of the Knicks-Bulls game, I can only liken the excitement I felt to the last time I had my tires rotated. Well, there was a little bit of drama anyway. The new lottery format helped the bad teams out even more, and everything held true to form until the final 2 picks were announced by NBA Commissioner David Stern.
The second pick in the 1994 NBA draft goes to the Dallas Mavericks.
Mike
And that
Dunleavy
means
raises his arms in
that the
jubilation.
first pick
Oh, yes, woeful Dallas for the second straight year got zapped by the cattle prod and missed out on the first pick. The Mavericks will have to be happy with the second pick, which is better than the number 4 they drew last year. But as we see, Mike Dunleavy heads up. Milwaukee gets the first overall pick, and they will choose number 1 when the draft rolls around June 29th, or will they? We'll talk about that in a second. Dallas, though, will go second, Detroit third, Minnesota 4th, and Washington 5th. The rest of the top 11 who were ordered around today, the Sixers going 6th, the Clippers 7th, Sacramento 8th, Boston 9, Lakers 10th, and Seattle, on a choice that was owned by Charlotte, will go 11th. And everything just about fell into place except for the top 2 spots. Mike Dunleavy says he likes Glenn Robinson as the number 1 pick, but he's keeping his options open. Are they crazy not to pick Glenn Robinson?
Oh, sure. He has no options. You've got to take Glenn Robinson. He's the best player in college ball this year. He's phenomenal, Bob. The guy has great leaps. He can dunk the basketball. He can shoot it from the perimeter. He can block shots. He has that physical presence. He's an intimidating factor. I think the people in Milwaukee would be highly disappointed if the Bucks passed up on an opportunity to take Glenn Robinson.
Well, Dallas really doesn't get hurt this time, except for the fact that they won't get the big dog, probably. But they're not really hurt, are they? They'll come out okay.
Oh, they'll come out good. Jason Kidd, a point guard that really can make things happen. I think he's got Dallas written all over him.
Okay, well, don't touch that dial, because unless coming up next, we've got a lot more to come on This Week in the NBA, including the Western Wars, including the finale between the Nuggets and Jazz. Karl Malone had lots to inspire him, not the least of which was his own team owner. Stick around for details.